SynthStories starts right now.
Am I the a-hole for moving on with my ex after my best friend told me she didn't want me? I, 24 male, have been friends with Chloe, 23 female, for 5 years. She's always been there for me, so when she planned to visit me a few months ago, I was excited to finally hang out. Before the trip, she admitted she'd had feelings for me for 3 years. We ended up hooking up while she was here. By the end of the visit, I told her I had real feelings and wanted to see if something could come from it. She told me no, she just wanted to stay friends. I was hurt, but I respected it. A month later, she came back saying she couldn't hide it anymore and wanted to try. We started talking, but it never became a relationship. She was going through family drama, lost her job, bouncing between couches. I even asked if being with me was too much for her right now, and she agreed it was better to stay friends. So I let it go again. I had even planned a trip to fly out and see her for my birthday to see if she was serious, but she canceled on me. Twice. Meanwhile, she was chatting with her old flings, which I didn't care about, since she told me we were just friends. Not long after, my ex, 22 female, reached out. We'd ended on okay terms, so we started talking. I told her I wanted to take things slow. Out of respect, I told Chloe immediately. She got mad, ghosted me, then came back still sending flirty messages. At one point, after saying she didn't want a relationship, she texted, "But I miss you in your bed." So I moved forward with my ex. When I mentioned spending time with my ex and her family, Chloe exploded. She accused me of leading her on, said I was choosing someone else over her, then cut me off. The next day, she was reposting TikToks like, "When he makes you cry like this," and "Men ain't shht." Thing is, I never lied, never hid anything. I asked her multiple times to clarify what she wanted, and she told me twice she didn't want a relationship. I respected her decision every time. She's the one who flip-flopped, canceled trips, flirted after telling me no, and then got mad when I moved on. So, am I the a-hole for moving on after she made it clear she didn't want me? Too long, didn't read. Best friend admitted feelings, but told me twice she didn't want a relationship. Canceled on me twice, still sent flirty texts like, "I miss you in your bed." I told her immediately when I started talking to my ex again. When I moved on, she blew up and cut me off. Am I the a-hole?
Fiancé, female 43, is obese and I, female 33, am contemplating calling off the wedding. My fiancé, 43 female, and I, 33 female, have been together for 7 years and engaged for about 6 months. When we first met, both of us were in good to average shape. I was maybe a bit too thin, but not extremely so. Over the years, I gained about 70 pounds, and she never commented on it. Not once. A couple of years ago, I decided to try to get healthier and lost about 40 pounds. Over the years, she's gained a lot. She's about 5'2" and I would guess around 220 pounds, though I'm not sure. Here's the thing, she's always struggled with her weight, and when we met, she had lost a lot beforehand and finally felt confident enough to try dating. She told me she's gained it all back. She knows she has a problem. She's told me / vented to me many times. In addition to saying that she hates herself, I can find someone better, and she's recently begun to ask me if I still find her attractive. I told her yes. The truth is, I'm really struggling with my attraction for her. I feel disgusted with my own self for lying to her, but I've had my own insecurities with my body, and I know firsthand how difficult it is to lose weight and struggle with constant food noise. I couldn't tell her that I'm losing attraction, but I don't want to lie to her anymore either. She's in therapy. I think she's been going to the same therapist for a year now. Struggling to lose weight and voicing these concerns to me was the catalyst, or one of them, for me to suggest she try therapy. She's only gotten bigger. I realize it takes time, but I'm genuinely worried for her. I told her about a week ago that I'm scared for her and I just want her to take care of herself. I'm here to support her, cook healthy meals with her. I suggested we go to the gym. She said she doesn't want to because people will look at her and make fun / cast judgment. I reassured her that it likely won't happen, as it's not like my gym is anything fancy, and even if someone stares or says something rude, that's their own insecurities. We've been in couples therapy, we no longer are. We went for a couple of years and made progress in other areas. Unfortunately, we didn't address this, but I suggested that we go back. She said that we have the tools now, we'll be fine. I can't make her go to therapy, I know this, but I just don't know what to do anymore, and I'm scared and have anxiety around the fact of what my life could look like 10 years down the road married to someone who doesn't take care of themselves and probably, most likely expects me to take care of them, for reasons that were completely 100% preventable. I've seen firsthand within my own family what severe obesity looks like, and it's terrible. The worst to me is partly the physical limitations, like not being able to walk more than a few feet, for example, but it's the complete belligerence too. Mad at the world and others around you because you're constantly hurting. I'm seeing that now with my fiancé. She gets upset easily, and I think it's very much related to her weight. We were at a theater show recently and she was uncomfortable in her seat because she didn't fit. So we moved to different empty seats. The seat holders came and politely asked if those were our seats. My fiancé, irritated, made a snide remark to them about showing up late. They did, but they still paid for the seats, and I was so embarrassed and apologized. I kind of had a breakdown in the car afterwards, cried, and yelled at her to please figure this out, because I can't live like this anymore. We like to travel, in fact it's one of the things that brought us together. We're currently on vacation with her parents. Her parents are healthy and fit in their mid-70s. They hike up mountains, bike 20 to 30 miles daily, ski, etc. Today, my fiancé couldn't walk half a mile uphill before having to stop, while her parents easily kept up with me. She got crabby and was short with us, asking me constantly how much further to our destination. Her dad very bluntly told her a couple of weeks ago, after all of us biking, it'd be a lot easier for you if you lost weight. I was sort of mad at him for being so blunt about it, but now I'm hoping it actually gets her to wake up. Because I don't know what to do anymore aside from call off our wedding and leave. I feel absolutely awful about this, but I sometimes fantasize about a different, future relationship with a different person, a hypothetical person, no one I know. Sometimes I see a woman, reasonably fit and attractive, and I wonder what it would be like to be with her or someone like her who doesn't struggle to walk a ways uphill or doesn't get mad about a seat in a theater. And then I get sad and ashamed, because how can I think about a complete stranger that way when I'm engaged and making wedding plans with the person I love? I would never cheat. Ever. I think those who do are the absolute scum of the earth. But when she says, you can find someone better, as much as it pains me to admit this, I kind of wonder if it's true. I keep telling myself, maybe things will change, and, even if you do get married and things don't change, you can get divorced. And I want to slap myself and yell, wake up, because if anyone I know IRL told me that, I'd tell them to leave their relationship. I don't know how it got like this. I sometimes wonder if I haven't done enough, if I've said the wrong things to her when she's vented to me about her struggles with this, if I'm just too much of an enabler. It's possible I have relationship OCD, I tend to obsess about stuff like this. My fiancé is so incredibly smart, has a great career, and when I look in her eyes and see her smile, I get happy and then sad because the person I met years ago is still there, but then I see her body. I understand gaining a little weight is normal, especially as we age, but she has the type of body now where her stomach basically protrudes and hangs. She can use her stomach as a table for herself, and she waddles instead of walks. Yet she eats plenty of salads, incorporates vegetables into every meal, always has. It's just portion control or calories in, calories out that she struggles with. She loves sweets, she'll eat a dessert nearly every night. She bikes a lot too. We're currently on a bike trip, so it's not even a physical activities thing. If I were to meet her today, no idea who she was, I probably wouldn't date her because her body isn't the type I'm attracted to. Unfortunately, her body now reminds me of someone I know years ago who was very obese and is now in a mobility scooter most of the time. I feel sick even saying any of this. I don't know how to start my life over if I leave. I don't know how to call off an engagement. So much of our lives are entangled. She's my best friend. How do I get through to her? Thank you for reading all of this.
Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's best friend the truth? So I, 29 female, am married to my husband, 32 male. And we have this couple friends, we will call them Tony, 33 male, and Brittany, 33 female. My husband and Tony are best friends. They have known each other since they were 3 years old, their parents are friends, the whole 9 yards. Tony and Brittany have been together for 10 years but married for 3. I have known the two of them as a couple since I met my husband, so in total I have known Brittany and Tony for about 5 years now. So since the boys are close, naturally Brittany and I also became close to where at one point I even considered her to be one of my closest girlfriends. Now earlier this year it came out that Brittany stated that she no longer feels like she and Tony are in a happy marriage and that she was having thoughts of divorce. I told my husband this in hopes to maybe talk to his friend Tony to just check on him and their marriage to see if it was really that bad. He told me that we should not insert ourselves into their marital problems and they need to work it out. I said okay and didn't think much of it after that. Fast forward to a couple months later. I was at Brittany's house for a girls' night. We did the usual, which was drinking wine and crafting. 3 of Brittany's other girlfriends were there as well. That is when Brittany dropped the bomb on all of us that she is planning on leaving Tony. I was shocked, but I didn't want it to put a complete damper on the rest of the night, so I stayed and finished my craft. At some point in the night, Brittany and one of her other girlfriends, we will call her Melanie, got really drunk and disappeared for what felt like a long time. I didn't think much of it and decided to get a snack from the kitchen. As I was getting a snack from the kitchen, I heard what was very obvious make-out noises coming from the guest room. I got very uncomfortable, so I drank some water, gathered my things and headed home. The next morning I texted Brittany and said, "Do not lie to me, did you kiss/make out with Melanie last night? I heard noises and I am not stupid." She said yes. After that we had a long discussion in person about how I was upset and disappointed in her that she basically put me in a position where it feels like I have to lie for her. The week after this happened, Brittany and Tony got into a really big fight and she told him she wants a divorce. Long story short, the in-laws get involved and urges them to try marriage counseling first. I told Brittany that if they are really going to try marriage counseling, it needs to be based on a foundation of honesty and she needs to tell her husband what happened at girls' night. She told me that she is not going to tell him because she doesn't want to blow up Melanie's life and have Tony get angry and tell Melanie's boyfriend what happened. I told her that it is still cheating and she should tell him. Well, fast forward to just a couple days ago. Brittany is still doing this revolving door of, I want to be married, I want a divorce. She even at one point over the weekend told everyone that she was done with Tony, packed a bag and left. She decided to stay with Melanie. Then she comes back on Sunday saying, I can't throw my life with him away, I want to work it out, I'm sorry, etc. This secret is eating me alive at this point and honestly I just cracked. So I called Tony and I told him to meet me for lunch because I need to talk to him in person. I told him the truth. I told him that Brittany and Melanie made out one girls' night. I told him that I was so sorry I didn't say something sooner and I felt guilty keeping it from him. I told him I originally did not say anything because I was hoping it would come out in marriage counseling, and I wanted to give them a chance to work it out. He understood and told me thank you for telling him the truth. Tony is now filing for a divorce and asked Brittany to leave because she lied to him. Brittany went off on me saying, fuck you, you're a fake-ass friend. She is upset with me for telling her husband the truth, which is she cheated on him with another woman. I feel like I did the right thing because I told Tony the truth. But you guys tell me, am I the a-hole? Too long, didn't read. I told my husband's best friend that his wife cheated on him with another woman. Am I the a-hole? Edit, to be clear, they went to one counseling session. She told him that she didn't want to do them anymore. Meanwhile, she told me they were actively going to counseling.
Am I the a-hole for not wanting to use any part of my husband's late girlfriend's name for our child? My husband and I have been together for 6 years, married for 3, and now we're expecting our first child. My husband lost his first girlfriend, Emmy, when they were both 21. They'd been together for almost 6 years and he truly loved her. He was honest with me about her and about the fact she would always be someone he missed, and he had maintained a relationship with Emmy's parents. That was always okay with me. He seemed in a good place to be in another relationship and he dated before me, so it was reassuring. About 6 weeks ago, my husband mentioned that if we had a girl he would love to use Emmy, or Grace, which was Emmy's middle name, somewhere in the name. He told me it was something he always thought of doing. And he told me for a boy he had ways of using masculine forms of Emmy or Grace somewhere in a boy's name. I told him I wasn't really on board with that, and he never mentioned this to me before. He asked me why he would, and then said he didn't know why I'd be difficult about it. It was a few days later he told me he wanted to use the names and he was putting his foot down that he should be allowed to. He said we can add it as a second middle name if I won't consider a first name or first middle name, but that it should absolutely be in there somewhere. He said only someone jealous would be hesitant to use it like I am. I asked him how he'd feel about it if he were in my shoes, if I wanted to name our child after someone else that I would always love but couldn't be with. He told me he would suck it up for my sake and he would accept the dead aren't competition. Then he said he would actually be the one suggesting it and there would be no weirdness for him. It was a couple of weeks later before he brought it up again, and this time he said he would do this even if I loved my late partner more and was only with him because I couldn't be with my late partner if I had one. I don't. That became something more emotional for me because it felt like a confession when he brought it up because it was randomly said to me. But maybe it also felt like he might be speaking for his feelings and how he might think I'd feel. I never had an issue with him loving Emmy or remembering her, feeling sad about her death or anything. I just never thought I'd be asked to name my child after her. To me it feels weird and wrong, and this whole thing has made me insecure in our marriage. I told him as much and he suggested I was jealous and shouldn't be so threatened by someone who died. He told his sister what was happening a week ago, and now she's asking me to explain my feelings and asking if I'm a woman or a little girl because only a little girl would be so jealous of a dead partner. I asked my husband why he told his sister because now she was getting involved. He said he had to vent to someone and he felt I was being unreasonable and unkind about this. Am I the a-hole?
Would I be the a-hole if I asked my ex to move out after we decided not to marry? I've literally no one in my life right now with whom I can share this. And just feeling lost in indecision. My ex and I broke up in June when I had proposed marriage to her, but she didn't say yes nor she said no. I had to push her to give me an answer, and she said the reason was that I wanted children and family life, but she wants to be independent. I was baffled by her statement, as she would constantly talk about babies and even use it sexually, like put a baby in me, etc., and later pretended that it was just a breeding fantasy of her. I don't want to go into those details, but we are 35 male and 31 female for context. It was a deal breaker for me, as I dream of a warm, happy family life, and I did my best to acknowledge her fears, but she straight up does not want any husband-wife kind of bond and says she's happy living this way. She has this bullying nature where she would shout and have the last word, and I hate drama, so I mostly avoid such explosions. I broke up with her in mid-July, which meant we just moved into different rooms of the same house for which I pay the rent and maintenance. Our work life leaves a lot less time to process other things, so there is a lot that we did not talk about, and she is very insular, kind of dry person and hardly engages with me. I've been fearing loneliness and have my own abandonment issues, so perhaps a part of me wanted to hold on to some kind of delusional possibility of a dream that she ended. I'm an academic and she works in finance. She treats home as a relaxing place, and for me it works like a second office, and sometimes I even take online meetings with students and colleagues for projects. I'm in the middle of finishing a book I've been working on for last 3 years. It's basically the most important project of my life right now, and it takes an insane amount of focus. I thought I'd be able to balance it, but the reality is I'm constantly distracted by her comments, little digs, and constant bickering about trivial stuff, like how I stack dishes or how much time I spend in bathroom, etc. I don't think she means to sabotage me, but the energy in the house is not friendly and I feel like I'm suffocating. When we broke up, I tried to be generous. I told her she could use the house, the food I buy, even my car, as long as we kept our interactions respectful. I thought that was the adult, kind thing to do, give her stability while she figures things out. But lately it feels like that generosity backfired. She acts like she's doing me a favor by being here, and if I ever push back on her tone, she says I'm being controlling or too sensitive. I've isolated myself and had literally no one to confine into or process it with. Just being numb about my days. Work all day, have a drink and sleep. If you have any personal experience, please consider sending me a DM. It's gotten to a severe point where I don't even feel at peace in my own home. I'll be writing and she'll start an argument over the thermostat, or leave passive-aggressive notes about groceries. It might sound small, but when you're pouring everything into a creative project, those constant interruptions feel massive. I've asked her to at least keep things civil, but the respectful dialogue I asked for just isn't happening. Part of me feels guilty because I know moving is stressful and money is tight for her. I don't want to kick someone when they're down. But at the same time, this arrangement is draining me. I'm paying for everything, and instead of feeling like a safe space, my home feels like a war zone. I don't think I'm asking for anything unreasonable, just peace and boundaries while I finish this book that means everything to me.
Would I be the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend if he goes away for the weekend with his family? I'll try to keep this short and answer any questions. I, 29 female, have been with my boyfriend, 27 male, for 2 years. I have a daughter, 5 female, from a prior relationship that my boyfriend has a very present relationship with. Now the issue. My daughter's birthday is coming up in about a month. My boyfriend knows the day of her birthday. He texted me to ask if I minded if he went away for a long weekend with his cousins the weekend of my daughter's birthday. I told him I did mind as it was my daughter's birthday, and considering his presence in her life, I assumed he'd be there. He attempted to create a compromise, however, the issue runs deeper. In the last year, his mother has told me my daughters will not be accepted by his family unless we are married, which caused a bit of a fight. I have been excluded from multiple weddings and get-togethers with his family. He's been excluded from nothing with mine. He has canceled on me multiple times when we had plans with my family, claiming to forget about family events, included a wedding I was not invited to. I told him this was the final straw. If he went away that weekend, I would end the relationship. I told him he never puts our relationship and future first, and I'm sick of begging him to. It turned into a 3-hour fight where he called me a ton of nasty names, said I was controlling, and even texted my mom, who told him he was in the wrong. It spiraled into him arguing about anything and everything he could think of, and me standing firm on this. This was a non-negotiable situation, and if he didn't put us first, I was gone, as I am sick of always needing to compromise and accommodate his family. He suggested a different weekend to his sister, and he refused. His story also changed from asking if I minded to saying he already had the plans. In the span of 2 hours, here's where I may be the a-hole. He told me he felt torn, and I told him at this point in this situation, I was giving him an ultimatum. Me or them. I did not feel like being in a relationship with someone who could do this every year for my child's birthday. I know it's not his child, but to have such an active role in her life, and even claim he's going to be her stepdad, puts a horrible taste in my mouth for the future. So would I be the a-hole if I break up with my boyfriend for going away with his family?
Am I the a-hole? Told my girlfriend her destructive and disrespectful younger brother and sister can't come anymore. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my girlfriend's younger siblings at our house anymore because they keep damaging everything I fix? Me, 30 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, bought our first home about 2.5 years ago. It was a total fixer-upper, but I was willing to learn and do things DIY to save money. Since then, I've poured thousands of pounds, all of my annual leave, and endless weekends into this place. Every improvement, repair, or upgrade has been me alone. My girlfriend isn't great with money and hasn't contributed financially, and she also doesn't have the skills or interest in DIY, so I don't hold that against her. The issue is her younger brother, 14, and sister, 12. Every time they come over, they're incredibly disrespectful of the house. For example, her brother once took a hammer to the porch tiles and cracked 2 of them. When I asked if he'd do that in his own house, he said no. I told him bluntly not to do it in mine. Her parents brushed it off with, "It's only a couple of tiles," but I reminded them that their landlord pays for their repairs, while I'm footing the bill and losing time. I spent ages laying a sandstone patio, and her sister dragged metal chairs across it, scratching the surface, even after I told her to pick them up instead. Just last night, her sister begged to stay over. I agreed. This morning I woke up to a flooded bathroom because she apparently put all her weight on a tap, bending the pipe. Now I've got water damage under recently laid flooring, and my entire weekend will be spent ripping it all up and fixing it. When I said I don't want them over anymore because every visit ends up costing me time, money, and stress, I got called unreasonable. But from my perspective, I'm constantly undoing damage caused by kids who don't respect the space I've worked so hard on. So, am I the a-hole for putting my foot down and not wanting them at the house anymore? Edit. She's not on the deeds. Replies are slow due to ripping up flooring, fixing leaks, and discovering extent of water damage. I will reply, just bear with me please.
Am I the a-hole for considering leaving my wife over this? Trigger warning: self-harm. So I 47 make and my wife 43 female have 3 children, our oldest 20 male, our second 18 male, and our youngest 14 female. I was deployed for a lot of time of my children's life, but I was there and had a close relationship with every one of them, or so I thought. Our youngest has been deaf since birth. I and her brothers learned sign language, and my wife never did. On to the issue, my daughter is extremely good in lip reading. She tried to unalive herself yesterday because she felt like everyone hated her, saw her as a burden, and a lot of horrible stuff that made me cry just reading it. I read her journal after she was brought to the hospital. She overheard, or rather read, her mother's lips and found out how much shit and bad stuff she talks about her. This breaks my heart because I never realized it. My daughter is gladly stable, but we were really close to losing her. I've never cried so much in my life. My sons both aren't talking to their mother right now. I understand it. She's angry at us and tells us we're trying to make her be the villain when it was our daughter's choice to do that, which really hurt me. I told her to leave, got angry, but didn't raise my voice or do anything disrespectful. She left after a lot of arguing. I'm just angry, sad, and guilty because my daughter is a fucking kid and I don't want her to feel unsafe at home. She's my baby girl. Am I the a-hole for considering leaving my wife over this? Apologize for anything unclear. English isn't my first language. I'll answer any questions. Edit: a few people believe this is fake because my daughter had our first son at 13? No? How do you come to the number 13 even? If you can't do basic math, please don't comment. She was 23 when she had our first son. To those who say people who are deaf since birth can't lip read are wrong too. She's in special school for deaf people and she learned it there and practiced a lot.
Am I the a-hole for taking my girlfriend's brother's challenge, leading to them getting humiliated with no fault of mine? Throwaway. So I'm 29 male and I have a girlfriend, 28 female, and we have been dating since past 1.5 years. She has 2 older brothers and 1 younger brother, and all of them are these "we are men" dudes. Now, her brothers are pretty decent guys. I've been around them enough to know that they just live in that headspace, that every man should be big and strong. Now, I'm 5'9", but I'm on the stocky side. Since I first met them, they have always commented on the fact that their sister should not date a guy shorter than them. They are also super big on UFC, drinking, and working out, which I'm fine with, working out and UFC, because I myself like these other than drinking. They always comment that she should be with someone who's a badass and not a French guy. I'm half French from my mother's side, who are perceived as cowards, etc. Last week on Saturday, they had a family get-together of around 20 to 30 people, and I was naturally also invited. Late into the party, they started saying that she should have been with one of her exes as they liked him for being a big, strong guy. I was a bit hurt by the comment and pushed back. Rather than backing down, they said if I can beat them in a wrestling match, they'll consider me a man. I initially didn't accept, but I think I didn't want it to be perceived as a coward. Now the thing is that they don't know that judo is big in France, and I was pretty active in the national judo circuit until I was 16, but had to move to US with my parents. 3 years just before I started dating her, I started getting back into BJJ, and I'm just a lowly blue belt, but I train like 4 to 5 days a week only as a hobby. They think BJJ is gay and even made fun of me for that. So getting to the moment we square off, and without hurting them, I could easily take them down and pin them with. And this repeated for all of them. It was a stunning silence in the party, and the mood turned sour, so I took my leave. The next day, my girlfriend started saying that you have no right to humiliate them when they were just being playful with you. I know you train BJJ, but they were being friendly and all. I told her I didn't hurt them and was also initially not interested in wrestling with them. Also, I explained to her I could have used a strangle or a joint lock to hurt them, but I simply kept them pinned. It apparently has hurt them manhood, and my girlfriend is just being an overall insensitive person about it. She is now going on this whole tangent of me being insecure to prove myself and humiliating her brothers to feel like a bigger man. I'm usually a quiet person, but I'm not able to understand how I approach this situation. Update: she was waiting for me outside my apartment, saying that she wanted to talk. She started saying that it was very embarrassing for her that her brothers and boyfriend got into a fight, which I told her was not a fight and something initiated by her brothers. She doesn't even know, seem to think that they are at fault, and to quote her, "They were a little drunk, so you being sober should have been the mature one and ignored them." I asked her that did she plan on stopping them if they went too far, and she said that yes, I would have, because I know you don't like to do all this. To which the only answer I had was that, well, you didn't do anything and have been only a silent observer in the bullying. To which she started huffing and being like, don't make everything about bullying or whatnot. You are being too sensitive and whatnot. I told her, the way she has been acting, I don't think I'm interested in continuing the relationship. To which she started saying, you are gaslighting me, or whatever term she can think of from TikTok she could throw at me. She started crying and said, I thought you cared for me, and called her brothers to apologize to me, and said to hash out the issue, which I'm not currently interested in doing. So as of now, I have decided we are on a break, and I could not stay in my apartment, or else she would have been persistent in talking with me. Her brothers are now blowing up my phone with messages like, come on, dude, we are over that. You proved yourself. Cut her some slack. But maybe I've been too lenient with them all along. So they're blocked.
23 male boyfriend backtracking on wanting marriage. 24 female after saying he was ready. Am I insane for checking out? My boyfriend and I have been living together and dating for almost 3 years. We moved in a month into knowing each other. I made it clear when I met him that I wanted to get married soon after the 2-year mark. I didn't want to waste too much time if things weren't right. Well, around the 2-year mark, he said he was ready, but now he's backtracking. He's telling me I need to change XYZ thing about myself, and that he sees me as a life partner but I need to make changes. I asked him why he never brought these things up over the last 2 years and why he said he was ready at the start of the year. He said it was because he thought about things like an adult and realized he needs XYZ things to be happy for the next 80 years. In normal circumstances, I probably would have just said okay and made the changes, but over the last 2 years he's had this habit of comparing me to other women. Like, this woman makes more than you, this woman does XYZ, and I actually made changes to fit what he needs. But now I feel like there is probably either a woman in his head who he wants to be with and I'm not her, or that he just wants to waste more of my time. I told him I don't care about marriage anymore since I don't want to shotgun him down the aisle, and if he wants to just have fun until we find serious partners, so be it. But now he's asking me what the point of us dating is if it's not for marriage. My friends say he's gaslighting me and he doesn't have any intention of a future with me. He just wants to string me along. I'm honestly not sure. Someone's gone through something similar and could share some insight.